Hello everyone, myself Loveneet Kaur, Bhangu, Assistant Professor and Head Department of Botany and Environment Science, Mata Gujri College, Fatehgarh, Sahib. So once again, I welcome you back to the lecture series of Environment and Road Safety Awareness. So next in the line of this lecture series is the topic ecosystem. And today we'll be dealing with ecosystem. So listening to the very name of ecosystem, the first thing that comes to our mind is, what is ecosystem? The answer to this question shall be dealt in detail in today's video. We shall be discussing about what is ecosystem and what are the various components of ecosystem in today's lecture. So without wasting much time, let's begin. So in today's lecture, we'll be studying about ecosystem, and the contents of this lecture include introduction, major components of ecosystem, producers, consumers, decomposers, and the remaining topics, that is food chain, food web and ecological pyramids, will be dealt in the next video. So before directly coming to ecosystem, one should have a basic overview of ecological hierarchy, because if I directly speak the definition of ecosystem, it will not become that clear. So before directly coming to ecosystem, we'll be studying about the ecological hierarchy. Now, what is ecological hierarchy? So first of all, ecology. Ecology is the study of environment of an individual, or you can say that environment in relation to individual. The study of that is known as ecology. And if we study about ecological hierarchy is basically the different levels that are present in ecology. So first of all, if we talk about ecological hierarchy, the basic unit of ecological hierarchy is an individual. Now, my dear students, this individual can be a human being or an individual plant. Individual means one. So it can be one animal or one plant or one human being. So here in this picture, we can see there's one deer, individual. So then after that comes the level of population, in which a number of individuals of the same species are included. And after that comes community, in which a number of populations are included, then ecosystem, biome and biosphere. Now we'll be studying in detail. So first of all, species. What do you mean by species? A group of similar organisms that can breed and produce fertile offsprings is known as species. Now if we have a look at this again, so we were talking about individual. Now this individual, it can be any individual of any species. Then coming to the higher level, that is population. So here we need the concept of species. All the individuals of a species, of the same species, residing at the same place at the same time, they constitute the population. So the species can be any species. For example, it can be deer, it can be lion, it can be monkey, or it can be cow, buffalo, any species can be there. So all the individuals of the same species that are residing at the same place at the same time, they constitute the population. So here coming to the population, a group of similar organisms that belong to the same species can interbreed and live in the same area. For example, a number of deers can be seen in this picture. So all the deers residing at a particular place at a particular time, they form the population of deer. Then coming to community. Now, if we talk about a particular place, or if we talk about any forest community, for example, then a number of different types of animals are residing in that community. Now there might be a population of deers, there might be a population of zebras as it is seen in this picture, there might be populations of many wild species will be present over there, population of lions, population of tigers, population of bears and so on. So if we take the assemblage of all those populations, that is, if we take together all those populations that are residing in that particular forest, at the same time and at the same place, they form a community. Then after that comes the concept of ecosystem, which is the very topic of our today's lecture. Now, dear students, if we talk about community, now individual, as we were saying, that it can be of a plant, of animal or human being. So So we were talking only about the living organisms. So individual is living organism, and then the population will be assemblage of all the individuals of the same species. It will also constitute of the living organisms. Again, the assemblage or the sum total of all the populations residing at a particular place at a particular time, they form a community. So till community, we were dealing only and only with the living beings. Now, if we talk about the next, ecosystem. Now here, if we add the abiotic factors along with the community, if we add abiotic factors along with all the biotic factors, that is the living factors that were comprising a community, it forms an ecosystem. Or in other words, we can say the sum total of biotic and abiotic factors brought together, they form ecosystem. Or if we want to define all the organisms that live in a place and the physical environment, it constitutes an ecosystem. For example, if we talk about a pond ecosystem, now there might be a few phytoplanktons growing over there. What is phytoplankton? Phytoplankton are the microscopic plants that are growing at the base of that pond. Then there might be many zooplanktons, that is microscopic animals might also be there in the pond. Then we can say some small fishes might also be there, some large fishes or some other aquatic animals might also be present over there. But that doesn't form the complete pond ecosystem unless and until we add water into it, or we include the temperature that is prevailing in that pond, or the soil conditions that are prevailing in that pond. So if we want to talk or explain about the pond ecosystem, we need to add all the abiotic factors also along with the biotic factors, and then ecosystem is formed. So hope till here the concept of ecosystem might have become very clear. So ecosystem, again I repeat, it includes both the biotic factors in the form of different communities as well as the abiotic factors, and the abiotic factors can be of two types, that is climatic factors or edaphic factors. If we talk about climatic factors, it can be in the form of temperature, in the form of water vapors or humidity present in that area, then again wind and other factors that are included in the climatic factors. And edaphic factors are the factors that are related directly to the soil, that is soil pH and soil conditions and all. So all these conditions, all these abiotic factors in the form of climatic factors as well as edaphic factors, when they are added to the community, that forms an ecosystem. So again I'll be coming back to this diagram. So here earlier we had an individual, that is individual deer was there, then the population of deer was there, then other populations like owl and this rabbit and all the other populations residing in that area, they include in the community. And here in the ecosystem, you can see that if we add this abiotic factors such as this water is there, or the climatic factors have been shown over here, and all the other abiotic factors, when they are added to the community, it forms an ecosystem. Then similar type of ecosystems, they constitute the biome. So here comes biome. So a group of ecosystems that share similar climates and organisms, they form a biome. That is, all the similar ecosystems, they collectively they are known as one biome. And there are various types of biomes such as desert, tundra, savanna, temperate deciduous forest, etc. Then coming to biosphere. Now the last and the final step of ecological hierarchy is biosphere. So here we can say that wherever the life can exist, the entire thing constitutes a biosphere. Now the life can exist in three forms, either on the land, that is lithosphere, or it can be in water, that is hydrosphere, or it can be present in air, that is atmosphere. So if we have the sum total of all the three, that is the lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, collectively it forms a biosphere. And this is the highest level of ecological hierarchy, or we can say that wherever the life can exist, the sum total of all that constitutes the biosphere. So again, having a recap of the entire thing. First of all, there was organism, that is one individual. We studied about species. What is species? the group of interbreeding individuals capable of producing fertile offsprings constitute a species. Now, organism, it can be belonging to any species, maybe to deer, to zebra, or to wild cows, buffaloes, or elephants, or fox, or owl, or any other species. So here in this picture, deer is being represented as an individual. And coming to the next level of hierarchy, we have a population of deers, that is all the individuals belonging to the same species residing in the same place at the same time, they constitute a population. So dear students, you will need to learn all these definitions for your exams. And here in this picture you can see a number of deers are present in this picture. So they are residing at the same place at the same time. So they are constituting a population of deers in a particular place. Then coming to the next level, that is community. Now here we can see there is a population of deer, the population of zebras, or the population of this fox, or whatever the species have been represented over there. So the sum total of all these populations, they collectively constitute a community. So till here we were dealing with only the living organisms, but when we add the abiotic factors to the community, that is sum total of both the biotic, that is living, and the abiotic, that is non-living factors, when they are taken together to constitute environment of an individual that is affecting that individual, it forms an ecosystem. So again I repeat, community plus abiotic factors, that is non-living factors, the next level is formed ecosystem. So this is ecosystem. You can see that water has been shown, and the sun is there, clouds are there. So various climatic factors have been depicted in the form of these things. So again I repeat, the climatic factors in the form of temperature, because vegetation of a particular area, it is always affected, or it is always determined by the climatic factors that are present in that region. So the climatic factors are having a great influence on the vegetation of an area. And then again in turn we'll be studying the different trophic levels of ecosystem in this video. So here after this plants, that is the producers, the animals, they are dependent upon the plants. Even we people, we are dependent upon the plants. So again everything is dependent upon that. So climatic factors cannot be ignored in an ecosystem, because if we talk about aquatic ecosystem, if water is deleted from that ecosystem, you can't imagine the aquatic life without water, or without the prevailing temperature conditions in that area, or without the soil conditions in that area. So this forms an ecosystem. And finally the last and the final step is biosphere, that is the sum total of all the ecosystems, they form a biosphere, or wherever the life can exist, that is included in biosphere. That is the sum total of lithosphere, that is life on land, then plus life in air, that is atmosphere, plus life in water, that is hydrosphere. The sum total of all three, it constitutes a biosphere. So hope till here the entire concept of the ecological hierarchy might be very much clear to all of you. So now I'll be coming to ecosystem. Now we know what is species, what is an individual, population, community, then ecosystem, then biome and biosphere. So now we are in the right position of understanding the definition of ecosystem. So here an ecosystem is a community of living organisms in conjunction with the non-living components of their environment. That is the things like air, water and minerals, soils interacting as a system. So here, dear students, ecosystem is the community of all the living organisms. That is sum total of all the communities, that is sum total of all the organism of all the species, along with the non-living components prevailing in that area. That is in the form of air, water, temperature, minerals, soil and all. When we add these abiotic or non-living factors to the living factors, to the living communities, their ecosystem is formed. So hope the definition of ecosystem might be very much clear to all of you. So next, coming to the structure of ecosystem. Now what is the structure of ecosystems? As we have already discussed, that ecosystem, it comprises of both biotic as well as abiotic components. Now here we are having biotic components as well as abiotic components. So as we have understood in detail that when we add the abiotic factors to the community, or you can say when we add the biotic as well as the abiotic factors together, they form an ecosystem. So here when we talk about the structure of ecosystem, so dear students, it includes both biotic as well as abiotic components. Now the biotic components can further be divided into producers, consumers and decomposers. And the abiotic factors, as I've already explained, it includes climatic factors as well as edaphic factors. So here biotic components, they include producers, consumers and decomposers. Now what are producers? Producers are also known as autotrophs and they produce energy. Now dear students, producers is basically the term that is used for plants. Autotrophs is again used for plants because autotroph means that the trophic level of organisms that produce their own food, that prepare their own food. So here we're talking about plants. All the plants and the trees, they are included in producers because they produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Then coming to consumers. Now all the organisms or the animals that are dependent upon plants for their food, they are known as consumers. Now there are different levels of consumers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, that will be dealt in detail in the next video. So here you can just understand that consumers are the animals or the human beings that are dependent on plants for their food. So these are also known as heterotrophs. Hetero means they are consuming the food that has been produced by another organism, that is by the plants. And they consume and transfer energy. That is, they take the energy from the food that is produced by the plants. Then coming to the next level, that is decomposers. Now what are decomposers? They are also known as saprophytes or reducers or saprophytic organisms because they feed on dead and decaying organisms and they decompose them. For example, bacteria, fungi, earthworm, all these are decomposers which feed upon the dead and decaying parts of plants as well as animals, and further they decompose it and the soil is formed. So again the abiotic components. Now the abiotic components, it includes climatic factors as well as edaphic factors. Now what are climatic factors? The various factors that are affecting the climate of a region, that is temperature, rain, wind, rainfall, all these factors are known as climatic factors. Then coming to the edaphic factors. Edaphic factors are the factors that are related to soil. Now if we talk about soil temperature, soil pH and the minerals that are present in soil, oxygen content and topography, all these are included in edaphic factors. So abiotic components, they include organic components like proteins, lipids, carbohydrate, inorganic components such as calcium, hydrogen, nitrogen, then the climatic factors such as temperature, light, wind, water, and the edaphic factors, that is the factor related to the soil. So these are the climatic factors which we have already discussed. Biotic components include producers, that is the living organisms in the ecosystem that take in energy from the sunlight and use it to transform carbon dioxide and oxygen into sugar by the process of photosynthesis. And the examples include plants, algae and photosynthetic bacteria. So here the pictures of the producers can be seen. Plants, photosynthetic bacteria and algae is seen over here. Then coming to the biotic components, the next level, that is consumers. Consumers are the living organisms in the ecosystem that get energy from consuming other organisms. Now they are further subdivided by what they eat. That is, consumers are the organisms which can't produce their own food but are dependent upon the other living organisms for their food in the form of either plants or animals. Now it is further divided into different categories depending upon what the organism is eating. Now herbivores is the first category, that is all the consumers or all the animals that feed upon plants are known as herbivores. The animals which eat the flesh of the other organisms are included under carnivores, and the organisms which feed both upon the plants as well as animals, they are categorized into omnivores. So these are various categories of consumers, that is herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. So here you can see the pictures of herbivores, these cow, rabbit, deer, snail, giraffe, they feed upon plants for their food. These are herbivores. Then the animals which feed only on the flesh of other animals like tiger, crocodile, large fishes, etc. These are categorized into carnivores, and the ones which feed both on plants as well as animals are categorized into omnivores, such as squirrel, bear, and even the human beings are included under this category. Then the last category of biotic components or the living components includes decomposers. These are also living components of the ecosystem that break down the waste material and dead organisms in simpler form. Now here, these are the organisms which feed upon either the waste material or the dead and decaying parts of plants as well as animals. And the examples include earthworm, dung beetles, and many species of fungi and bacteria. So finally, these are the decomposers which decompose or feed upon the dead and decaying organisms and convert it into soil. So the biotic factors, they include producers, consumers as well as decomposers. So in today's lecture, we discussed first of all the ecological hierarchy, so as to have a clear picture of ecosystem or to understand the definition of ecosystem, that is what's the meaning of ecosystem. We thoroughly understood the concept of ecological hierarchy, and after that we had a clear understanding of ecosystem, and then we dealt with the different components of ecosystem, that is biotic as well as abiotic. Then the biotic factors were dealt in detail, that is the producers, consumers and decomposers, and the abiotic factors, that is the climatic factors as well as the edaphic factors. So this was all about the basic concept of ecosystem and the various components of ecosystem. Hope all of you might have well understood the concept of ecosystem. And in the next lecture, we'll be discussing about the remaining part of the lecture, that is food chain, food web and ecological pyramids. So till then, take care. See you in the next video. Thank you.